Curious about who the most hated player in NBA history is? It's Bill Laimbeer. Seriously, he's actually been ranked that way. But the real question is, why did everyone dislike him so much? Well, there's a bunch of reasons. He was aggressive, super physical, and had a reputation for playing, let's be honest, a little dirty. And that's not all. So stick around to find out what else made him the ultimate villain on the court. All right, where do we even begin with Bill Laimbeer? Let's just get this out of the way. There's no exaggeration when people call him the most hated player in NBA history. It's not just talk.
I don't believe this. Laimbeer gets in a fight seemingly once a week.
34-second clock goes.
I never really liked Laimbeer in any social situation.
No.
Yeah.
It's because he was a dirty player.
Over the years, he's topped multiple lists as one of the league's most disliked players. And this wasn't just because of how he played, it was how he carried himself. That unapologetic attitude mixed with the success of the bad boys Detroit Pistons made him a villain in the eyes of rival fans everywhere. So why all the hate? Well, let's start with the obvious. Laimbeer was the face of the Pistons' rough and tough style of basketball. That team wasn't just good, they were feared, and Laimbeer played a big role in that. He was known for throwing hard fouls, delivering sneaky elbows, and constantly walking the line between physical play and outright dirty tactics. Opposing players hated going up against him because they knew it was going to be a battle, and not the pretty kind. But that's not all. Laimbeer also had a reputation for flopping. You know, those dramatic falls after barely being touched, all to draw a foul. It drove players and fans crazy. To them, it wasn't smart basketball, it was cheap. It felt like he was gaming the system instead of playing it straight. And with Laimbeer, it always seemed like he enjoyed getting under people's skin, like he fed off their frustration. Then there were the moments, specific incidents that only added fuel to the fire. One that stands out happened during the 1988 NBA Finals. Laimbeer was called for a foul on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but when the replay aired, it looked like there was no contact at all. Many believed the call wasn't about the play, it was about who made the play. Laimbeer's reputation often seemed to work against him when it came to officials. And if you think fans just disliked him for the way he played, think again. Laimbeer wasn't shy about trash talk or causing trouble. He had his fair share of heated moments with opponents, and he wasn't afraid to mix it up physically or verbally. One moment that really stuck with fans, especially in Boston, was when he spit in the direction of the Celtics' famous leprechaun logo at center court. That kind of disrespect didn't just bother fans, it stuck with them and became impossible to forget. But while he was known for being one of the most hated players, he was just as well known for his toughness, and that showed throughout his entire career. So let's take a closer look. Now, Bill's journey didn't start with a bang. In fact, it had a bit of a twist right out of the gate. He was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers in 1979, but the team was slow to offer him a contract. So instead of waiting around, Laimbeer took his talents overseas. He went to Italy and played for a team called Pinti Inox Brescia. There, he didn't just hold his own, he dominated. He averaged over 21 points and more than 12 rebounds per game, proving he was ready for the big leagues. Laimbeer came back to the NBA and joined the Cavaliers in the 1980-81 season. But even then, he wasn't an immediate star. He came off the bench, starting only 4 games the next season. But then came the big break. In February 1982, he was traded to the Detroit Pistons, and that move would change everything. The Pistons didn't waste any time. They made Laimbeer their starting center right away. It was in Detroit that he really found his identity, not just as a player, but as the face of a team that would go on to be known as the Bad Boys. Laimbeer wasn't your typical big man. He wasn't flashy, he didn't fly above the rim, but he was smart, tough, and unshakably confident. He wasn't just there to play basketball, he was there to get inside your head and make life miserable for his opponents. He threw elbows, delivered hard fouls, and constantly tested the limits of what referees would allow. Opponents thought he played dirty. Pistons fans, they saw him as a warrior. Even Dennis Rodman, one of the toughest players to ever suit up, said Laimbeer was more than just a thug, though he admitted that's how most people would remember him. Isaiah Thomas, Laimbeer's longtime teammate and friend, once said, "He frustrates people because he's good." That pretty much sums it up. Laimbeer knew exactly what he was doing. He treated the game like a mind game. He once said that even before the ball was tipped, the battle had already begun. When the Pistons came out of the locker room, Laimbeer always led the way, wearing a scowl that said, "Don't mess with us." He wasn't scared of anyone, and he made sure everyone knew it. He also understood that he wasn't the most skilled guy on the court, but he didn't have to be. His strength was getting under people's skin. If he could make a player more focused on fighting back than scoring points, he'd already won. He used his physical style to break opponents down mentally, and it worked. The media played a part too. Whenever the Pistons came to town, the headlines were all about how rough they played. Opposing players were already being asked if they could handle the bad boys before the game even started. That kind of pressure, Laimbeer loved it. But let's not forget, he could really play. Offensively, he was ahead of his time. While most centers camped out in the paint, Laimbeer was draining shots from the outside. He could hit mid-range jumpers, and he even made over 200 three-pointers during his career, which was rare for a big man back then. He ran the pick and pop to perfection with Isaiah Thomas and Joe DeMars. Head coach Chuck Daly knew how to use Laimbeer's unique skill set. Instead of rolling to the rim, Bill would often fade out to the perimeter, pulling the other team's best rebounder away from the basket. That move opened up lanes and gave the Pistons a major edge. On defense, he was a force on the boards. Laimbeer led the league in defensive rebounds throughout most of the 80s. And from 1982 to 1990, no one in the NBA had more. He wasn't the tallest or the most athletic center, but he had perfect timing, great positioning, and an unmatched speed. His stats back it up too. He was selected to the NBA All-Star Game 4 times, in 1983, 1984, 1985, and 1987. In the 1985 to 1986 season, he led the entire league in rebounding. The year before that, he averaged a career-high 17.5 points per game. In 1983 to 84, he shot an impressive 53% from the field. He was a key starter on the Pistons championship teams in 1989 and 1990. And if there's one thing you can say about Laimbeer, it's that he was dependable. From the time he joined the Pistons, he rarely missed a game. In his first 13 seasons, he played at least 79 games every year. He played all 82 games 7 times. He once went 685 games in a row without missing a single one. That's the 5th longest streak in NBA history. That kind of durability is almost unheard of. Over 14 seasons in the NBA, Laimbeer racked up over 10,000 points and 10,000 rebounds, an impressive milestone that only a handful of players have reached. He retired early in the 1993 to 94 season at the age of 36, after a practice scuffle with none other than his close friend Isaiah Thomas. The two had a heated moment that left Thomas with a broken hand. Laimbeer felt terrible, not just because of the injury, but because he knew the fans wouldn't take it well. That moment, he later said, was the beginning of the end for him. After a heart-to-heart meeting with Thomas and coach Don Chaney, Laimbeer decided it was time to walk away from the game. The two friends left that meeting in tears but remained close. In 1995, the Pistons honored Laimbeer by retiring his jersey number 40. He still holds the record as the franchise's all-time leader in rebounds. That's not just a stat, it's a legacy. So what do you guys think? Hurry up and drop a comment, and don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button so you never miss an update.